Hey, hello, my name is Kayley Stevens. Many of you may not know, but I'm actually the heir to $1 million fortune, and I will have part of Australia by the end of the month. Why does that seem unbelievable? Because it's not really true. Now, in a world that's so accessible for information, it's easy to be skeptical when people tell you things that seem a little bit outrageous, especially when information is so readily accessible. Now, lies are best hidden in the subtleties. So, aside from being a multi-dollar billionaire, if I were to say I got a new car last March or I'm trained in mixed martial arts, both of which are also not true, they're a little bit more believable and seem a little bit more reachable than $1 million fortune. So, it is important to understand that certain lies, they don't have to be extreme. It's just little lies that are really easy to understand. Let's see. It's important to take everyone's words with caution. Not everyone's truthful. Not everyone's going to take other people's feelings into consideration as well. Believing everything you hear isn't really wise and can potentially cause you great trouble, possibly even harm. So, I do have two examples today that'll explain a little bit more the point I'm trying to make with this speech. The first is one of Aesop's fables called The Thief and the Innkeeper, and the other is a personal experience I had from my previous job I had worked last year. So, the first one we have is The Thief and the Innkeeper, which is written by Aesop. I had obtained this by a website called Aesop's Fables on February 1st of 2023. So, The Thief and the Innkeeper, while Aesop may be a really well-known author, The Thief and the Innkeeper may not be as well known, so I'll explain a little bit about that. So it starts with the thief who's staying at the inn for a few days. He sees an innkeeper who has a really luxurious coat. It's embellished with all of these different ornaments on it, and he thinks, I really want to have that coat. So the thief and the innkeeper are both standing outside of the inn one day, and the thief says, "You know what? I didn't tell you this, but whenever I yawn 3 times, I turn into a man-eating werewolf." So the innkeeper's a little skeptical, like, okay, sure. The thief yawns one time, gives him a little side glance. The thief yawns a second time. He's like, "Can you please hold my clothes? If I yawn a third time, my clothes are going to rip off." The, the innkeeper tries to run away. The thief grabs his jacket and he's like, "Please just take my clothes. I don't want my clothes to tear off." By the time the thief yawns a third time, the innkeeper is already out of his jacket, running into the inn, trying to get to safety. So at this point, the thief has a new coat, and the innkeeper is safe from the supposed werewolf. And the thief goes about his way with a brand new coat. So, so there's a valuable lesson in this fable that I personally took is the importance of avoiding credulity. And according to dictionary.com, which I also accessed on February 1st of this year, credulity can be defined as the willingness to believe or trust too readily, especially without proper or adequate evidence. So it can be easy to laugh in the face of others' naiveness, such as a pretend werewolf, but there are real life situations where similar things can happen, but maybe not as extreme. So, in addition to the story of the gullible innkeeper, I do have a personal story of my own. There was one day I was working at Lowe's in the garden center, and the garden center is notorious for people stealing things, notorious every day. So, there was one particular day, there was this woman who had a whole cart full of different items, very expensive items, I might add. So she had a credit card, and on the actual card, when you pay with a card at the cash register, it said press cash to complete transaction. Seems a little strange when there's a card that says to press cash because that'll mess up the system with the cash register. Everything in my body was telling me to not do this. It didn't seem right. I tried to reach out to my superiors just to confirm. It happened to be a busy day, of course. So I was telling the lady, "I'm not sure if I can do this. This doesn't seem right." She started going a little bit more hostile, and I was like, "Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is something new I'm not aware of." So later on, she goes on about her way. I find out it was actually a scam, and there were 3 other people along with her in the store that had done the same thing at all areas of the store that same day. So I have spent time working with the public for the last 5 years. And in that time, unfortunately, I've learned 2 important things. One, not everybody is truthful. And two, not everybody takes other people into consideration. And as I said earlier, there are many untruthful people out there who can take someone's naiveness as weakness and use it to their advantage, even back in the time of Aesop, which is probably what prompted him to write this fable in the first place. So, in short, it's important to think logically in conversations, especially when we're being relayed information. Furthermore, as explained at the end of Aesop's fable, every tale is not to be believed. There are those werewolves, just like the thief in Aesop's story, lurking high and low places that are only there to seek out the naive for whatever they can. Thank you.